going on, guys? It's Brandon over at Old Anvil Speed Shop. We've got this 65 C10 in the shop today. Super nice truck. The owner just decided that he wanted to do a big back window conversion on it. So he went on down to Classic Industries and picked up the inner panel, the back window, and the back window rubber. So today we're gonna get it back into the shop, get everything kind of torn down, and we'll do the swap and take you along for the ride. It is extremely hard to see out of this little back window. All right, so now that we've got it backed into the shop, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the seat out. I'll pull the small back window out. I will pull the dome light out, the door gaskets and the door sills, and then we'll get everything all covered, and we'll get going on it. For anybody that doesn't know, this is Matt. He's our registered wizard of the shop. Thanks, buddy. Yep. It's gonna go right now.
Yep, let go.
Yep.
There you go.
It's a pretty nice truck, dude. How does that come out? Like that. So right now I'm pulling the door weather stripping. These ones happen to be glued in. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. Kind of just depends on who put them in. They should be glued in. However, we are gonna try to reuse these, so I'm gonna just try to take them off real gentle. Any place where there's a little extra glue where it kind of fights me, I'll take a razor blade, kind of get back behind it, cut it open, and get it off of here. All right, one down, one to go. So depending on what kick panels you have, you may end up having to take them off if your gasket sits behind it. This particular truck, it does sit behind it, so I'm gonna knock those loose and get that out of the way. I'm not even gonna take it all the way out. I'm just gonna make it loose to where I can kind of pry that out from in between there. Starting to get kind of hungry. Alrighty. All this needs to be marked. So I'm gonna make a little template and get that marked, and then we can come in here and start cutting spot welds, and we'll get this thing swapped over. So basically what I've done to figure out what flange we need on the back here is, if you look at the small back window cutout, it's got just slightly under a 3/8 of an inch flange. So the way these trucks are designed is actually that the stamping here is where your big back window stamping would be. So I made a little gauge, I put a hole just under 3/8 of an inch from the edge, and I ran it along with my Sharpie all the way around that seam. Got a Sharpie line, so now it'll be ready to go when I cut it. I can cut that, I'll get the spot welds on the inside, get all those knocked out, pull the inner panel off, pull the outer panel off, then I can fit my new panel on, clamp it in place, and then I know that I've got a correct flange for the original sized big back window. So I might even cut like on the outside of that line a little bit and then go back and kind of shave it, but yep. So I'm gonna start by removing this inner panel, and the first thing I'm gonna do is strip the paint off of these two seams. You could see up here, right where they're attached together from the factory where they're spot welded. So I'm gonna strip the paint from right here to here on both sides. That'll expose all the spot welds. You can kind of see them, but by getting the paint out of the way, it just makes it clear as day and you don't end up grinding the wrong spot. So I'm gonna do that on both sides. We will grind those spot welds, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm gonna do that other side.
Freight car steaming down the line to Birmingham.
So now that I've got all the spot welds exposed on both sides, I'm gonna take my belt sander and I'm just gonna very gently kind of grind each one of those spot welds down to where I hit the base material. You don't wanna go through, and the reason for that is then you'd have to weld it back up, and we're really trying our best to save the paint on the outside. Obviously we're gonna have to come in and respray this new inner panel, but we're gonna do everything we can to save as much of the paint on the outside as we can. All right, so I've got all my spot welds ground. I went ahead and cut this bottom flange here, and I went ahead and cut up here. There's a couple different ways I can go about getting this panel out, and the way I'm gonna do it is I'm actually gonna cut around on the inside panel around this window frame. That way it'll free up all these spot welds right here to where my inner panel will come out, and then I'll go on the back side and I will cut out the back side to my scribe line and pull the back that way. Technically you could cut on the outside and try to finagle the whole piece out as one, but I don't feel like fighting it, so I'm gonna do it in two pieces. I think it'll be quicker and easier. I'm trying to be fairly easy with it, just so, because I don't want to like bend up any of the flanges or anything like that. See, and then you can kind of see too, like I haven't burned all the way through grinding my spot welds. So now, once I break all these loose and I pull this panel out, I can go back and I can clean up what's left of that material that was on top, and then I'll have a nice, smooth, full flange. Whereas if I would have like burned through it, or if I would have like drilled the spot welds with a spot weld drill, there's a chance that you burn into that base material on the outside, and then when you go to spot weld it, it just becomes a real pain in the ass. Can I say ass? There are worse things I could have said.
Like what?
Now, if you're doing this at home, I highly recommend using gloves. Now, I have this cool thing called workers' comp. So if I slice my fingers open, I'll be good.
Oh, hey, Paul.
Yeah. Almost there. There you go. All right, now let's take this out to the garbage where it belongs. See, my concern with this though is it get away from you real quick. All right, so I rough cut the outer panel with the Milwaukee nibbler. I use that just because it's much quicker. It does make kind of a mess, so I went in and vacuumed all those chips up. And now I'm gonna go ahead and come back with the air saw and just cut basically all the way up to my line, get it all nice and clean and ready to go. And then I'll jump back on the inside, clean up all my flanges. I've got some spot welds up top I gotta still grind out and pull the old panel out. And then we will fit the new panel in and get rolling. right, so last night where we left off was we had just done a dry fit to make sure everything fit where it needed to go and make sure the panel was proper. This morning I came in, pulled the panel out, and I've stripped the seams that are going to get spot welded, so the 2 seams on each side and then the 1 seam for the back window. I stripped both sides of that. That way once it goes in, I can clamp everything and spot weld that. I do need to punch all my spot weld holes. I'm going to do that before it goes in. Just simplifies the process. I can use a little hand punch and do it real quick. So I'll lay those out and do that before it goes back in. And then while it's out, I also scuffed it down with some Scotch-Brite. That way once it goes in, it's panel bonded and spot welded in. Paul can get in there and he can tape everything off and he can shoot it. And that way all the paint will match and we'll have a big back window conversion. When I put that panel bond on, it might kind of ooze out, and that way I can just pull the tape off and be done with it. Watch your fingers. Just gonna go up.
Good. Push it up into this corner.
You ready? Now push that back. Yep. Yeah, so basically I'm just making sure that the panel is set where it needs to go, making sure everything fits right, and getting everything fit in here so I can get all my clamps on here, get everything nice and solid, and then I can come back and all those punched holes, I can come and spot weld those closed, and we should be good to go. And then once that's done, we can come back and we can seam seal this upper edge. You could even seam seal the bottom edge if you wanted to. And then once that's all dry, it'll be good to go for paint. All right, so now that we've got our big back window panel in, I've taken some clamps and clamped the window frame. I had some clamps on this side, but I already went ahead and started TIG welding up those spot weld holes. And then as you can see here, I've got a few prop rods that I've actually used to push the panel into place. The reason I'm doing that is because with the roof skin on there, there's no way to clamp the top edge, and then with the bed on, there's really no good way to clamp this bottom edge where we panel bonded it. And we want to make sure that those areas stay nice and tight. So on the bottom, I've taken the prop rods, run off the dash to hold the panel together. Now in the center section here, I've kind of jerry-rigged a pry bar and a prop rod with a block of wood in where the dome light goes, just to kind of pull this thing up into place. So we're gonna go ahead and leave those there for a while. I'm gonna take some time and finish up all the spot welding. And then once that's done, we'll be ready for paint. So we just pulled the truck out of the paint booth. We've got a fresh coat of paint on our big back window panel, and we're gonna get Paul in here and install the rear glass. So we just got this thing wrapped up, pulled it outside. You can actually see out of the back window now, which is super nice. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.